Everybody, welcome to One Set.
Can't forget that Philly
Yeah,
special, right?
right,
um,
right.
I mean,
The Philly
since
special. It's something special.
it's something special, since we're on it, we might as well just, uh, if you're cool with
I
it,
was gonna say,
let's just
let's
run
just go
through
right
all of
into the
this now
sports.
because we're already in it right now. Um,
Yeah,
so Eagles at Detroit on September 11th. I mean, it's hard to bet on the Lions because they are notoriously a losing team. Um,
hmm
they're in
I
Detroit.
haven't really dug into their team this year. I haven't really seen how their preseason was, but this should be a W for the Eagles, even though
It
they're not playing at home. But
should
it should be a W.
should be. And then we host the Vikings for Sunday Night Football the following week, which again, like the Vikings have been a very like on and off like good team, not
Yeah,
great team. Um,
right.
I just always think back to um, when we played them in the postseason, the year that we won the Super Bowl, and
Yes.
we just annihilated the Vikings. Like
Which I
I
was
think
very
that
surprised. That was one of the games that I was worried about.
I was worried about it too. And I think they got one touchdown, but we got like five or something like that. Like we crushed them. And I was like, wow, I didn't expect that. But I think we had the first week as a bye week because that's how like good our record was. I'm pretty sure we
Yeah,
had a bye week.
it, we had home field advantage because we clinched our division, so we had home
Yep.
field advantage throughout the
Hmm.
playoffs, which totally saves you and is totally what you need, totally. And uh,
Totally.
yeah, I think since you clinch the playoffs, you get home field advantage, and you win the division. Usually, that means you get the first week bye of the playoffs, and then
Yeah.
so we had to play. I think that was from, if I remember, the Vikings were the first team we played in the playoffs because they won one of the buy-in ones to get in there. So we had to play the Vikings. So
Yep. And we crushed them. Like I was
mhm,
surprised. But we've also
yeah,
played them and lost to them here and there too. Like it really just
right.
depends.
So it's just one
Um,
of those things like, okay, when is our luck going to run out? Because we already had Nick Foles coming in, and everybody, you know, was just already 1 foot out the door. Because at that time we didn't believe in Nick Foles. We knew he was a decent backup, but for him to be rallied up to win a championship, I would have never put my money on that. If I would have known what I know now, obviously you would put money on it. But at that time, you couldn't convince anybody, oh, he's going to win the Super Bowl for us.
right.
But that game, those games leading into the Super Bowl, geez, it was just like, you know, I mean, I think it's more he was a backup QB, but he more played like a starter because he's been in those positions. Because I mean, he's been with the Eagles before, so he kind of knew a little bit of the system. But
Yeah.
it couldn't have been more of a perfect season.
Yeah. I mean, I think when Carson Wentz got injured, we already were like, I think we clinched the playoffs by then. So everything after that with
Yeah,
Foles playing was a nail biter, like for all of us.
yeah,
And for for us to continue to win and do well each like playoff game, we're like, okay, we're on to the next round. But like I think everybody was anticipating, like, all right, well, if it was Wentz, we'd be definitely going to the Super Bowl. But now we have Nick Foles and meh. And then we went to the Super Bowl and it was like, oh man, we're playing Brady and the Patriots. So here we go. And then
yeah.
like God, I just watched those highlights like last week again. Like I'll just YouTube it at random sometimes and just be like, show me
Uh-huh.
the Super Bowl. That was 52, I believe.
I think so.
Highlights,
Yeah, 52.
and
Yeah,
it's It's just, especially the Philly special, man. It's
Yeah.
so good. I
At
said,
that time of the game, I was just like, hey, we're playing, arguably the greatest football player that ever played the game, and it's like, hey, we made it this far, all bets are off. If we win, this is going to be history. If we don't, at least we made it this far because we haven't made it that far since the, McNabb and Terrell Owens,
yeah,
days.
yeah. I
And
think
that
that
was
was
even a little bit further back.
2006 or five. I don't know.
It
It
was
was
early
around
2000s.
when we. It was around when we graduated high school, right? Um. So
Right.
I, I
So we
said
hadn't seen something like that in a while.
right. I said the Vikings game was a Sunday night game. It's actually a Monday night game. It's Monday Night Football. Um, that we're hosting them,
Oh, so we're
and
getting
that
Monday Night Football pretty quick then. Okay.
yeah, and it's at home.
Well, it makes sense. It makes sense. 8:30 then. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's the following Sunday is when we're playing Wentz in Washington. So
Commanders. I'm looking
yeah,
forward to that game. I mean, uh, I have obviously, well, I think it's going to be more hot when they play the Commanders in week 7 at Philly. But since we're playing the Commanders in Washington the first time, it's still going to be a hot game no matter what. Both games are still going to be hot. But I
yeah,
think it's going to add more, you know, flavor to it in week 7 when they play in Philly. But I would like to say we go 1-1, like you were saying. But I'd like to say we go 1-1 with the Commanders because I have a feeling Wentz is going to get one on us. I mean,
yeah,
I think he's out to be like, yeah, you're not going to beat me twice because I got something. He's got everything to prove, and you know, was it everything to gain, but nothing really to lose. I mean, hey, you lose, but he's got everything to prove in that type of matter.
sure.
Uh,
Uh, it's
week 4, Jaguars
yeah,
in Philly.
um,
Doug Peterson.
interesting. But it's hard to bet on the Jaguars at all just because they're not a winning team. Obviously, um,
Yeah.
Lawrence is decent, but um,
Again, another W that should be a W for the Eagles.
should be. I agree. Um,
I would
and
like to think
then
at this point we would be 2 and like at the minimum, I would like to think we would be 2-2 at this point, if not
well,
3-1.
it it's it's easy for us to gravitate anywhere close to 500, right?
Right.
Um, but I think realistically, I think we're beating the Lions. I think we're winning against the Vikings, and then I'd say maybe we lose to the Commanders in Washington,
Mhm.
and then I think
And
we'll
if we
beat the
do, yeah,
Jaguars.
if we do lose, it might be a tight loss. Like last minute field goal, last minute touchdown. Somebody makes a bad play. Somebody, misses a tackle, and the game's like that, and we can't regain it back. But yeah, I think that game will be tight.
Or they like get a field goal and they're up by like 1 or 2 points. Like it's going to be a tight game, I
Right.
think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
Yeah.
So I'll go with 3-1 up through week 4, and then
Hmm.
we play the Cardinals, which I'm just gonna say we'll probably eat the L on that one.
You think?
Just,
I mean,
I mean I
the
don't remember
Cardinals.
the
I mean,
last.
the Cardinals have been a pretty good mid team, I'd say. I mean, they haven't been bad, but they haven't been good. Again, I think that might be a good game because I think it'll definitely. But then again, we're playing uh at the Cardinal Stadium, so I
Yeah,
mean it'll be
we're playing in
difficult.
Arizona, so that's kind of why I'm like I think we're
Yeah,
gonna eat the L on that one.
yeah,
Um,
true. Yeah,
so maybe 3-2 on that, and then
then we got the Cowgirls.
Cowgirls, girls, uh,
Girls, girls, girls.
damn girls, yeah.
in
Uh,
Philly. We got to beat the Cowboys twice this year. I'm tired of at least going 1-1. We got to beat the Cowboys twice this year
I mean, it'd be nice. Uh, we'll see.
because we play them
That.
again on Christmas Eve. So yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, we are playing them Christmas Eve. Okay. Um, yeah. So that is a Sunday night game. So we'll
Mm-hmm.
that's in Philly. I'll tell you what. I if we do go 1-1, I'd rather lose that one and win on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, I'll take the L now and then take the win on Christmas Eve. Yeah, because I think a lot
Yeah.
of people in Philly are gonna have bad Christmases if that's something. If we lose to the Cowboys on Christmas Eve, that Philly's gonna be a
Whoopsie.
show on Christmas.
Yeah, I mean that
Santa's
is
not coming no more. I can't do this no
whoopsie.
more.
um, yeah, I it's tough because we are hosting um Dallas in
Yeah,
October,
yeah,
and
that's
then we're
right.
playing. So if we
In
if we
Dallas, yeah,
if we win in Dallas on Christmas Eve, even better, right?
even better, 100%. Yeah,
100%. Um, I
your
mean,
boys
yeah, that's it. I
from the next one.
like I said, I always just do the 1-1 for the division teams. So I'll go with they win the one at home and they lose the one away. It's just easy to bet
Okay,
on that. So I'm at 3-3.
Steelers and Eagles.
I'm going with
Okay,
Eagles.
yes. So looking for me, where are we at? So we're in week 6. So yeah, I'm gonna go 3-3 as well.
Okay, but that's before the Steelers game, right?
That's before the Steelers game. Yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah, right.
then
So yeah,
and
we're
then
going. So we'll be going in. Yeah,
and then
into the Steelers
Steelers.
3-3.
We're going into
I
the
think the
Steelers game
Steelers are
three
gonna
and
get
three.
the. Yeah, it'll be tough, but I think we're gonna take an L to the Steelers for sure.
Okay,
So we might be 3-4 after that game.
I have the Eagles winning that game, so I'm gonna go 4-3. Um,
And if possible, I don't like to say this, but depending on how the Texans are, we might eat another L the next week because
mhm.
in the Texans stadium, so we might be 3-5.
So you're going 3-5 there.
But
I'm going 4-4.
okay,
I'll agree that they'll eat the L at the Texans game.
okay. So you're giving Eagles the win over the Steelers.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay.
Um,
So then Commanders, Eagles. I'm giving the Eagles the win home.
yep, yep, yep.
So that's where
So
we get our revenge back. So we'll
y-
be
you're at four
four
and
and
five.
four, four and
At,
five, right?
and I'm at 5-4 because I have the Eagles beating the Steelers. Okay.
Eagles, Colts. I'll take the Eagles over the Colts, so that'll even me out 5-5.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. That's close. Maybe I'll say
It'll
they
definitely
eat
be a
that.
close game.
Yeah. Um, I'll
Taking
say
a
they
loss
eat.
for the Packers.
I'll say they eat the L for there, so I'd be at 5-5, and then I agree with the loss against the Packers, even though they're playing at the Eagles.
Yeah,
Um,
Packers are pretty good. I mean, as long as Aaron Rodgers is still on that field, you mean you're
it- it-
not going to be getting a
he's tough.
W.
He's tough to bet against, right? Yeah. So
Right, exactly. He's still a great player. So yeah, I'm going to give them the Packers the win for that one. Uh, so
you're at five and
that
six,
makes me 5-6.
and
Texans, but we're
no
home. We're home again. So
Titans. Titans.
yeah, sorry, Titans home again.
Uh, I
I don't know.
I Titans are a good team.
Yeah.
I say we eat the L there too, honestly. So then
That's what I'm thinking too.
we'd be at 5 and
But
7.
after that, it looks like the season's pretty
Doable.
easy up until the Saints. So I think we eat up after the Titans. I think we can easily eat up three wins with the Giants, the Bears, and hopefully a win with the Cowboys.
I actually think the remaining 5 games are easy, not easy wins, but I think we could win all of them.
Manageable wins, yeah, because we got Giants twice, which I think we lost one. I think we went 1-1 with the Giants last year, and but I think the one Giants game was like a very close game, and we lost it in the end. So I think hopefully we can get 2 wins out of that, and we can get a win from the Cowboys. I would like to think Bears will be a W. So I think one of my 5 games that we really lost. So 5 out of 17 games. So was it 12-5? That doesn't
Yeah, I
seem
mean,
pretty reasonable, but uh, I mean, if not 12 games, I would like to think we at least get 10 this season.
why am I only
So 10
counting?
and 7.
Why am I only counting 15 games?
Did we go? Is it 15? I thought they changed it to 17 games.
7, 8,
4,
9,
5,
10,
6, 7, 8,
11, 12, 13, 14.
13, 14, 15, 16.
Okay, I have
16.
I got 17 that time. I
Okay.
just counting must have been weird.
Yeah.
I
So
I
12,
had
12 and 12 and 5's like really, a decent because you can clinch the season. You can clinch the division with 12 and 5.
yeah, I was pushing more like 10 and 7. I think that's a little bit more
That's
reasonable.
more reasonable. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
And it just
you
depends on how the other what the Cowboys season's looking like and what the Commander season's looking like. But then again, it doesn't seem like the Cowboys did that great in the draft. It doesn't seem like they're going to have a great season. I think the Commanders might. I think the Commanders are going to be our battle for the division this year. So might want to look at their calendar and kind of see what they're looking at. I think just like anything, it's going to probably come down to our last couple games of whether we're going to clinch the playoffs or win the division.
yeah, I mean,
So
and the injuries are always a factor, right? Because people get
yeah,
injured
of course,
and then
depending on what injuries happen. Yeah,
seasons are completely toasted for certain teams if they lose specific players that are like carrying the team, right? Um,
right.
or at least definitely key players to help them because who um before the Commanders were the Commanders, they were the Redskins, but um someone on that team got injured like a couple years ago or a few years ago. I forget who it was, but it was like once they got injured, it was like they're done. I
Are you
forget
saying
who it
about the
was.
Eagles,
No, no, the Redskins.
Redskins?
I'm trying to remember.
Uh, I think I know who you're talking about, but I forget who it was. It was Alex Smith, their quarterback.
Yeah, yeah, their quarterback was done, and then everyone was just like, "Well, they're out. See ya."
Yeah,
um,
because the second string was like meh. So like, yeah,
meh,
we're done.
yeah,
Yeah, he had a nasty injury. I forget what it was, but I know it was a definitely a
season
if not
ending.
career ending, it was
Yeah,
definitely season ending.
yeah, yeah. I forget the injury too, but it was like, yeah, he ain't coming back from that anytime soon. Um,
Yeah.
and that's the
So
thing. It's like,
I think we're both easily agreed that 10-7 for the season is pretty reasonable. I think we'd be pretty good with a 10 because uh we went 9-7 or 9-8 last year. We'll have to look that up real quick. But yeah, we only won 9 games, and if we had 17, so it would be 9-8. So I think if we can gain another win or two, if we can, come out of it 10-7 or 11-6, that'd be great. But I mean,
I think 10-7
even if
is
we
like a
win
really
9, yeah,
yeah
I'd be down to put some money on 10-7.
yeah. I mean, like you said, even 9 games, 9-8, that's very close to 500, right? And
Right.
it's always safe, like to say, oh, we're going to float just about 500. Um,
Hmm.
but even teams like them boys that went 13-3 that one season and lost first round
In
of
the
the
first
postseason.
round. Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
So it's like, yeah, you can say all you want about like the record for the Eagles, like just looking at these games, saying, like we can predict this, that, and the other, but like once the postseason starts taking shape, that's when
Yeah.
it gets really fun. Actually, I
Yeah.
mean,
Because
that's
then you start kind of mismatching and be like, okay, this team's got to win in order for, and that's the part of the football that I didn't really get into until a couple years of like, because my dad and my brother used to really know the different ways of like, okay, well, this team and that team, they got to win in order for this team to get in the playoffs. But if this team loses, that team's going to get in. And I'm like, how do you gain all that? But then I realized you kind of look at the stats and look at the conferences and divisions, and you kind of see how that all works. And
right.
it's you kind of look at who's in the hunt for either the wild card or to clinch the division or at least get into the playoffs. And like you said, when it gets to about week 14, 15, that's when you're really going to start cooking up and be like, okay, these next couple games are like crunch time decisions. Like, you gotta either, like, if we're in the position where we need these wins in order to get in the playoffs, that's when it's going to start being like, okay, we need these in order to get, or we need these teams to lose in order for us to at least get, we can afford a loss if these two teams keep losing.
Y- Yeah, usually like second or third week of December, like you have top teams that have already clinched like their playoff berth. It's like, all right,
Yeah.
well, they're definitely going. Like they're solid. They're going to play their second string for the rest of the season. Let their starters rest, uh,
Right.
and then they're going to be fresh and good to go by the time because they'll get that first week bye, and then they're off to the races, right? Um,
Right. Right.
yeah, usually the last few weeks it's just like the wild card teams like trying to like fight for that last spot to like squeeze into the postseason. Um,
Hmm.
so yeah, it gets really fun there because you, the guys play different, right? Like they there's just
Right.
more sense of urgency. There's more fire under their
Whoopsie.
like it's it's just
Yeah.
it's a lot more like fun to watch, really.
It's kind of like in
Um,
basketball, like, the regular season is one thing, but playoff basketball is a totally different ball game, So it's like another level you got to step up, and it's mostly the same thing with football because one, you don't get to play series, so if you lose one, it's not like, oh well, we can lose this one and we'll get them the next time. Like, no, it's win or go home. So you got to be on your ball literally every single game.
yeah, for football, it's like you said, the games are so much more intriguing because it's like if you lose, you're
Hmm.
done. You're out. See ya.
Yeah.
Basketball and baseball, they do series in the postseason. Um, so if they eat an L, they eat an L, and it's like, all right, well, we'll get them next time. Football,
Right.
it's do or die, right? Like you got to get it done.
Mhm.
Speaking of
100%.
baseball, the Phillies are currently losing. Um, I don't. Jeez. They. I don't know when we're publishing this episode per se. It is currently Tuesday, August 30th, 11:24 p.m. and they're playing in Arizona and they're down 8-0 in the fifth inning. So it's like they were on
Excuse
less
me.
Yep, you're good.
Whoopsie. Woo.
Um, woo.
Woo. But
Sidebar.
I think this episode should be coming out this week, right?
Uh,
So it should
whichever.
be a little should be a little current. But
Yeah, but the Phillies were hot
what's the
for a
Phillies
while.
record right now?
Um, they are. Jeez, I have the wild card standing pulled up. Okay, they're currently 72-57, so they're resting at 558. They
That's not bad. At
are.
least they're definitely over 500, so it's good.
Yeah, I mean, they're only a game and a half ahead of the San Diego Padres
Okay.
in the wild card, and Atlanta Braves are 8.5 games ahead um,
Mhm.
for wild card for National League East. Now, the best record in baseball right now is um, the Dodgers, LA Dodgers. They're 90-38. They're resting on 703.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah. Now the Yankees were like super far ahead of everybody like a month ago, and then they just started eating
Whoopsie.
like bad through August. Um,
Right.
so I mean, and that's the thing. Baseball is like if a team gets cold, then
Yeah.
it changes a lot of things, right?
And that's the thing too. I mean, you have so many games. So
Mhm.
I mean, if you lose 10 games, that can be, a really bad thing where I mean, especially football, yeah, I mean, if you lose like 2 games, that's really bad. But uh, you know, losing like about 5 games in baseball, you can come back from that. But if you start losing like over 10, it's hard to come back from that.
Yeah, I mean,
And it's almost the same with basketball too, because basketball with a 82 game season, it's almost the same thing. Like 5 games, you can kind of pull back from that. But once you start getting into like 10-game losing streaks, you're like, okay, this is hard to pull back from unless you're just going on another 10-game winning streak or something to bring it back. So,
right. I think there's something to be said about how good that the Phillies were without Bryce Harper. And then he just came back like off the injury list, and now they're not doing great. So it's like
yeah.
everybody was waiting for Bryce to come back to be like, oh, we're gonna start kicking
Whoopsie.
like in September. And it's like,
Yeah.
y'all,
Can you
like,
put him back on the bench again?
well, and it almost speaks for itself. Like I feel like members of the team probably resent him because of how well he was paid, like his contract, right?
yeah.
330 million. It was like the biggest contract at
Yeah.
the time. Like the
Right.
and I feel like the rest of the team stepped up and said, "Hey, we can crank out wins without that guy." Like
Absolutely.
everybody thinks he just carries the team, and then he came back. He's currently just the designated hitter. Like he's not
Hmm.
playing uh, in the outfield, and
Gotcha.
it's like
So he's just hitting right now. He's not really
he
playing any defense.
yeah, and not for nothing, but when we were playing the Pirates, like, or wait, no, well, we lost to the Pirates. Like we got shut out by the Pirates in the last game, and I was like, come on, you can't get
Right.
shut out by the Pirates. What are you doing? Um,
Mhm.
I think I saw something that said, yeah, the Phillies are like 1-7 in afternoon games. So it's like, side note, don't schedule the Phillies for day games. Like, make sure they always play at night, right?
Right.
Um, but yeah, they can't. They clearly can't pull out the W in like the daytime games, and it's like
Mhm.
it's definitely a factor. It's a real thing, right?
Right.
Like I know for me, like my body is tuned in to do what I do for work, like teaching in the evening. That's like when my body is conditioned to be active like that. So when I had to teach like Saturday mornings, forget it. my body was just not even awake yet. It's a real thing. So
Yeah.
I get it. Um, it's an excuse. It's like, you got to get the job done no matter what. Like, especially if you're a professional athlete, it's like, well, it doesn't matter what time of the day it is. You got to do your job, right? Um,
Exactly. Hmm.
but I mean, it's realistic. If they're 1-7 in the afternoon games, it's like, yeah, these guys just they're not tuned in at that time of the day, right?
Hmm.
Um, is what it seems. I mean, they got 7 runs last night, but the Diamondbacks got like 13. So we lost to
Hmm.
them 13-7 last night, and then they're down 8-0 right now. And it's like, I mean, Aaron Nola pitched a shutout game, um, like at the end of last week. Just pitched all 9 innings and nothing. Uh, Forget who we were playing in that game. It wasn't like a great team by any means, not that I remember.
Right.
But any rate, he's pitching. He was pitching. Well, he was pitching this game, and he allowed like 4 or 5 runs before we signed on, and now we're down 8-0 right now. Bottom of the fifth.
Hmm.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, that's I don't know. September baseball. It's like you said, or like we were talking about, like with football. Those last few weeks are like people are trying to squeeze in to that postseason spot, and
Hmm.
we're literally in like playoff mode for the rest of September, unless if
Yeah.
we just start the
Whoopsie.
bed like real
Yeah,
bad,
just really start going off the rails. Like, okay, well, we had a
and
fun
then
time. Let's just start going the other direction.
and then we're just done. Freaking Dick Wolf.
Dun dun. Dick Wolf. Yeah,
Dun
that.
dun. Yeah, that. Okay, good. Um,
Okay, good.
bueno. Yeah. Oh, look, 9-0. See. Um, yeah. I mean, I know we talked like at length about the Sixers when they were, in the postseason, and we were talking about the finals and everything. Um, I was really paying attention to like the other teams in the postseason because I was like, wow, these guys can play, and it was just a
Hmm.
lot of fun. You know, um, Growing up, my dad he was a car guy, so like he was mostly in the garage working on cars all the time rather than like a big sports fan. So
Hmm.
I didn't really get into sports until after like high school. Um,
Right.
and even then I was only watching like the home teams. But I'd say in the last 2 to 3 years, I've definitely started like I'll watch a game that's not a Philly team. Um,
Hmm.
if I'm like, oh, this is going to be a good game, like I'll tune in. You know. Um,
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, if there's
so
a good like for football, if there's like a good, Monday night football game, or if there's a good Sunday night football matchup that even my because like outside of basketball, my dad is a big football fan. Football was his sport before basketball, so if he knows there's a good Sunday night or Monday night game on, I'll definitely tune in and try to watch it. And or if I have some money put on it, then I'm definitely watching.
very
Until
nice,
I Yeah, very nice. Very nice.
very nice. It's a nice.
So it's always good to, like you said, it's good to see your home team play, but it's also good to kind of see teams that you don't normally get to see if you know it's a good matchup, and you have some good all-star players on there or good matchups to really watch. And I have a little bit of the Sixers schedule pulled up. We don't have to talk too much, but I'm just looking at like the not the preseason, but like the first couple games. And we start off the season with the Celtics in Boston on October 18th, and every other day, yeah, I'm thinking L right there because I mean,
Yeah.
you know, they're conference champs, so Celtics are going to be dominant. The Bucks are looking pretty well, but you know, I think we can run with the Bucks. It really just depends on how this season's going with the Sixers because we're trying to get into that top spot, but knowing how the Celtics played this past season, they're going to be really tough to beat. So that's going to be like our ceiling. And the Bucks are still pretty good too. The Bucks are with Giannis and everybody. They have a good squad over there too. The Spurs and a lot of these teams. I keep thinking back to when when Jordan was playing. The Spurs were good back then, but then when I think of them now, like I don't even know really who's on the team because I mean I watch basketball, but I don't really keep track of like a lot of the newer players that are playing now, like Pacers. When I think Pacers, I think Reggie Miller. I'm like, he doesn't even play anymore. Or like, so it's like I don't even know who's on a lot of these teams now, unless like Raptors. I know a couple because they've been in like the finals and everybody. I mean, they have a good squad over there too, and we play them back to back, October 26th and October 28th, and they're both in Toronto. So, we could do 1-1 with that and then we are in Chicago on the 29th, and then back in Washington for the Washington Wizards on Halloween. So I'll go from there, but we're looking at the first one, two, 4, 6, 8 games. Uh, we could be, probably another 500 starting team right there too. Maybe 4-4, maybe 5-4, if anything. Looking at it, so I mean, I'm looking forward to it because the Sixers, like I've said before in previous podcasts that we've done, I think Sixers are right there. They're definitely playoff material. They're going to be a good team this year, but this season's really going to be like, okay, do they have all the connections? Do they have the puzzle pieces in order to get past that first, second round? Because we've been either getting knocked out in the first round or getting to the second round and getting knocked out right before that conference final. So I'm hoping we can at least get to the conference final this season. I think that's the big goal for them. I mean, the goal ultimately, obviously, is the championship, but I don't think they're championship ready. I think if they can get to the conference final this year, that's at least progress because they've been getting knocked out of either the first or second round the last couple of years. So if they can get to the conference final, if they can see Boston in the conference final and see how they do, then if they can pull out, then that's great. But I don't see them beating the Celtics in a 7-game series right now. It just really depends on the chemistry between James Harden, Embiid, and Max, he was probably a good most improved player for the Sixers last year, so he's going to be coming in hot this year. So, like I said, I think we're going to be a good basketball team, but it's just going to depend on how, again, at the end of the season, where we are, uh, you know, how they're going to be going into the playoffs. Because you have a long regular season, but once that playoff, you know, thing hits, it's like a mental switch that you just turn on. It's totally different types of basketball you have to play.
Right.
So I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to the Sixer season this year too.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely paid more attention to the Sixers this past season. Like, if I
You
was
did,
free,
yeah.
I totally tuned in. Man, some of these players on these other teams are like, dude, I remember when I watched us play. It's the Suns, right? Is where Devin Booker plays.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
yes,
I
Devin
I
Booker and
was
Chris Paul.
I was just like, God, this Devin Booker guy is insane. Like, he's so good.
He
and
is.
then and then I watched like the Warriors, and I saw Steve Curry, and I was like, Jesus, this guy just every time he puts the ball in the air, he's just sinking them. Like,
Yeah, doesn't even look at the net. He's like, "Did it go in? It did. It did. Okay, that's what I thought."
he like throws it in the air, and then he's already on the other half of the court, ready for everyone to come
Uh-huh.
back to him.
He's a freak. I
Yeah,
mean, he just had a record last year for most threes in a season. I forget the name, but he passed Ray Allen, and Ray
Mm,
Allen was a beast of a 3-pointer back in the day. So that was just crazy to see for this past season. But yeah, Steve Curry is going to be, in that top 50 for best players as well when he's
mhm.
done.
I mean, I
Uh,
was watching the like the Mavericks, and Luka Doncic is like a
he's a
beast too.
beast too.
Yeah,
Hmm,
but
Jinx.
he, yeah, yeah, but he like even your boy Shaq was like he's trying to be like a one man team. He's trying to like run the court all by
Hmm.
himself, and it's like
Yeah,
you don't win games on your own, man. Like you gotta move the ball around, and it's like
and that's what Jordan had to figure out really quick too, because he came into a Chicago Bulls team that had a lot of older guys, and he was coming in as the younger dude that, you know, and I think back in the 80s, those guys were, drinking, smoking, doing drugs and everything. So they really didn't care, but that wasn't really his scene. So when those guys were out partying and doing stuff, he was in the gym, training and blah, blah, blah. But he had to quickly figure out that he has to use his teammates. But he had a thing of like, hey, if I don't trust you, I'm not going to be passing you the ball. Uh, but once he knew that he can trust you on the court and he knew that you can actually make plays, that's when you earned his trust. And again, anybody who is a Jordan fan, if they didn't see The Last Dance, highly recommend it. It's amazing. And that just gives you more into Jordan's like psyche. And the only one person that has that basketball psyche mentality that Jordan had was Kobe Bryant, rest in
yeah,
peace. He
yeah,
had that, fire that like he thought of the game in a different way, and he was in the gym 24/7 working on his game. One of the clips that I always see is like Allen Iverson always saying like, "Oh, they try to compare him and Kobe's game and everything." He's like, "Hey, I wasn't Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant was the dude when we were all in the clubs. He was in the gym. He was working on his game, and that's what broke him away from everybody else because he was working on his game while we were all partying and everything." So, as great as Allen Iverson was, you know, he could have been so much better if he was, that much more better in his outside duties. But then again, you really can't do too much when you're off the court. But Kobe was uh just a hungry dude that was gonna do nothing but try to win every single game. So I still can't believe to this day he's not here with us.
yeah.
I say it every time. I still can't believe he's not here with us.
That's that that was a real tragedy. Like when we heard about that, we were just like, "Oh my god, are you serious?" And like for his daughter to be in the helicopter with him like that, just
Yeah, I didn't want to believe it at first because I saw the news broke out, and I know everybody knew he had passed first. But then when the news broke out after that, his daughter was on the plane with him. That just like threw everybody through a spot, like a spin wheel. It was nuts.
yeah,
That was crazy. Because you can only imagine. We can get. We don't have to get into all of it, but you can only imagine just the feelings of that. It's insane. But
yeah,
to the guy that's the Jordan of our time, uh, you know, was Kobe Bryant. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of people that'll be like, well, he's no LeBron James or he's this and that. I mean, LeBron's good, but I don't think he has uh the basketball IQ that Kobe had. He's good. He's gonna be in the Hall of Fame. He's gonna be one of the top 50, but he is not on the same level as Jordan and Kobe was.
yeah. I mean, it also. Uh, I mean, he's good, right? He like LeBron is really good.
Yeah.
I think that the uh, cocky attitude like puts me off. Where he's like, "Yeah, I know I'm good," whereas Kobe Bryant was just he just carried himself like a humble human being. He's just like,
Mhm.
Hey, I work
He
hard and like I
he
try my
didn't have to
best."
say it, he just said he was basically hypothetically saying, "I don't have to say it, just watch what I do on the court."
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
You know? So,
Um, just quickly to acknowledge, Flyers' first season game is October 13th. So that's
okay.
we're getting hockey coming up soon. But
Yeah, so October's gonna be a big month of sports. Like, a lot of
uh,
things starting, a lot of things, getting spiced up, and we're gonna be having October baseball. October is gonna be in the football season. We'll already be 2 months into month and a half into the football season.
yeah, October is fun. Like late September, early October is a fun time because all four sports are like a thing
Yeah, so you have a lot of sports. We'll be covering a lot more sports at that time. We'll
for
be
sure.
giving our insight on those, so it'd be cool. And if you guys, anybody watching, like the sports talk that we are doing, let us know in the comments. Anything we've been talking about, give us your opinions on, any. It doesn't even have to be Philly sports teams. Let us know your favorite sports team, what you think their season's going to be like. Let us know in the comments or send us a DM. Hit us up on Instagram. If you guys want to send us an email, onceitpod@gmail.com.
Yeah. And then real quick, we want to talk uh, WWE Clash at the Castle?
Yeah.
Like we can,
We do have the WWE Clash of the Castle this weekend,
yeah,
so
it's
we
coming
can
up.
give our predictions. It's this weekend, right?
Yeah, it's Saturday. So
Right.
once this gets published on Friday, it'll be coming up tomorrow. Um,
Yeah. So we can give our little predictions. I haven't been watching Raw religiously the
mhm.
last couple months, but I've been tuning in here and there. But I at least know enough that it can be like, okay, well, I know when that Bailey and Dakota Kai and
Io Sky.
Io Sky. I know they debuted as summer. They well not debuted, but Bailey returned, and then Dakota and Io both made their debut in the main roster at SummerSlam. Matt Riddle and Seth Rollins have been kind of feuding for a little while. Gunther for Sheamus, I haven't seen that unfold, but
It's
so yeah,
that's going to be a good match. I'm actually looking forward to that one. I think that's going to be
yeah.
really good.
So
Um,
wherever you want to start on this card, buddy.
I just have it pulled up on Wikipedia right here. So
Same.
Edge and Rey Mysterio against the Judgment Day. I mean, it is what it is. It's going to be a good match. The storytelling with it has been decent. Um,
Yeah.
I do think that um, well, because the pay per view is in the UK, right? They're in Cardiff, Wales, which is in the UK.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
I
I
think it
said,
was. Yeah. Hmm.
um, I think I could see them giving Finn Balor the win here. Um,
True.
probably over Rey Mysterio, because Rey will eat the loss because he doesn't care. Like he's just wrestling
Yeah.
because it's fun. Edge is like
Hmm.
clearly trying to keep himself protected in a way because he
Hmm.
lost so many years off of his career. Um,
Right.
but he did tell the Toronto crowd after Raw in Toronto went off the air. He said, I'm gonna have my retirement match here sometime next year." So
Mm.
he's coming up
On his end. Yeah.
on the end where he's gonna lace up his boots or hang them up or whatever. I think that Gunther is gonna retain against Sheamus. Like I don't see Sheamus winning. Um,
So yeah,
as- uh,
Intercontinental
yeah,
Champion.
they're
So
they're
okay.
they're hot on Gunther right now, so they're gonna keep him protected. Matt Riddle versus Seth Rollins. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's a match. They've been trying to I think that they're just holding off on the Riddle and Randy Orton WrestleMania match. Like, so
Yeah,
they're just keeping Riddle like busy right now. Uh, I mean, a match with Seth, it's gonna be a good match, right? Like,
right.
you can't go wrong there. Um,
Have they actually gotten a match in? Because I know the last time it was like a disqualification, right? Because I know Matt Riddle got hurt, but then they had something at SummerSlam, but it was a disqualification. So have they had like a legit match yet, or are they
mm,
just been kind of still doing like the prolonging factor
the
storyline?
the match was scheduled for SummerSlam, but then they claimed that Riddle was injured, so then they postponed the match essentially.
Yeah.
They had like a squabble at SummerSlam, um,
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right. Right.
and that was it. They just prolonged it until the match at Clash at the Castle. So then we have
Gotcha.
this 6 woman tag match: Bianca, Alexa Bliss, and Asuka versus Bailey, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky. I mean, they're trying to build up the Bailey, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky stable. So
hmm
I can definitely see them getting a win.
Absolutely.
I think Alexa Bliss is going to eat the pin.
Mm.
Because I don't think that they're going to have anyone pin Bianca because she's the champion, and I don't see them putting anyone over Asuka, honestly. Um,
Is is Bianca's? I thought Liv Morgan's the women's champion.
she's the SmackDown Women's Champion.
Correct. Okay, yeah, that's right. Because they don't have a C next to Bianca, so that kind of got me confused whether she dropped her belt or anything. But I
Yeah,
thought
no,
she still had it
it's she does still have it. It's just the
since it's a
title's
tag match,
not
I
a
guess. Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Um, yeah, I mean, I think honestly that they did that just to be like, all right, well, we want to keep the belt on Bianca for longer, but we don't know who we want to like feud with her.
Because
Um, so they threw her
Charlotte's
in
not
that.
coming back anytime soon, from what I know of. So yeah,
Uh, I thought I heard that she
Unless
was backstage or something. They just don't know what to do with her yet. So
yeah,
I don't know. Liv Morgan versus Shayna Baszler. I mean, uh, I don't I don't see them pulling the belt off of Liv just yet. Like they just put it on her. Like
yeah,
she cashed in on Ronda Rousey, and then had the successful defense at SummerSlam,
yeah.
where that was like a wild finish kind of thing where she was tapping, but her like Ronda's shoulders were down, so they counted the pinfall. Um,
And I'm surprised they didn't go off, like, oh, well, like the next night they were going to re-show and like, oh, well, yeah, she probably should have won, but okay, well, let's just do a rematch. So eventually Ronda will get her rematch. But yeah, I think Liv keeps the title here. Uh, I would just like to see her kind of, keep the title, see how she continues to go because she's obviously still getting good vibes from the crowd. So I would like to see her continue to go, and but I don't think it's she will obviously not. I don't see her probably keeping it until next Mania. I
Rattlemania.
don't I don't see her keeping it until Hollywood.
Yeah.
She will drop it before then. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so yeah, technical difficulties. But yeah, so I was saying that yeah, Liv Morgan is definitely gonna, you know, retain with this one. I would like to see her, continue on with what she's doing. The crowd seems to definitely be liking her, and I was totally for her being champion. So yeah, I think she's doing a good job. So I think she'll definitely pull out the win with this and retain.
Yeah, I think that they're going to eventually build towards Shayna versus Ronda at Mania. Like, I think that that's a
Yeah,
stellar matchup. Like, that's
yeah,
going to
yeah,
happen.
100%. For sure.
Okay, so the Roman and Drew match, right? Like, I don't, I, I thought after SummerSlam that Roman was just going to relinquish the belts.
hmm
Uh, Clearly, he hasn't.
Right.
Um, I don't, I don't think that Drew is winning.
No.
because they have had Roman not be beaten for this long. Like they are saving whoever beats him for like a big. It's got to be a big deal at this point, right?
Mhm.
Um, I don't. I mean, Drew winning in Cardiff, like it would be nice. I don't think that they're going to go through with it. Like I don't think it's time. I don't think that they're going to have Roman drop the belts right here, right yet.
No. No. Yeah, I think Roman retains. It'll be a good match, but I think ultimately Roman will retain. And yeah, I don't think it's time for Roman to, be either relinquishing or giving up a belt or whatever they had planned for him. But I think Drew's gonna, you know, unfortunately take an L on this one.
Yeah, I think so too.
And I'm gonna go back to the first two we mentioned. I don't think I gave. I'll definitely put in for um since it's in we said it's in the UK, right? So
Yep.
I'll say yeah. I think Judgment Day gets a win out of this because it looks like Edge had the upper hand the last time, but yeah, I think the Judgment Day gets their win on this. Like I said, I haven't been following the Gunther and Sheamus stuff, but knowing how it looks like they're trying to obviously build up Gunther's knowing that he's the Intercontinental Champion. I don't see Sheamus in a thing of winning a belt anytime soon. So I would think Gunther will take the win with this. Uh,
Yeah. I mean, it's tough to say who is actually going to beat Gunther because the dude is just massive. He's wicked strong. He's fast.
and he
Um,
lost a ton of weight. You know how he used to be. He lost a
yeah,
ton of weight.
yeah, he did. He sure did.
And I mean the Matt Riddle and Seth Rollins, like you said, it's kind of is what it is. But I think for my thing, I think eh, I'll go with Seth Rollins probably go because I think they're just going to keep on prolonging it. So I'll go with Seth getting the win out of this if they do actually do a fight, or if they're going to prolong. I think Seth will get the win out of this just to keep prolonging the feud until something with Orton comes along with this. You know,
Yeah, I actually don't know like what the next like because I don't know that they're doing Hell in a Cell in October. Like they did that.
I thought they changed it. I thought they did. I thought they switched that with the Elimination Chamber, right?
Yeah, I hold on. I'm on
Or do they switch that with like Night of Champions or something?
upcoming. Yeah, so it's Extreme Rules is in October and it's actually in Philly. Go figure. We went to
That's
Extreme
right.
Rules right before COVID actually shut the world down, right?
Right. We had the last like legit pay per view
Yeah.
before COVID killed everything.
Yeah. So they it looks like uh they're doing Extreme Rules in October and then they have Crown Jewel early November in Saudi Arabia and then
Hmm.
the end of November is when they're doing a Survivor series. Now, they don't have a December pay-per-view listed, so I don't know if they are just not doing TLC.
Hmm.
Um they have day 1 listed for January 1st, so maybe they're going with January 1st as like their um that's like their December pay-per-view
Yeah.
um because they'll have the Royal Rumble
Right after that. Yeah.
um at like toward that's always towards the end of January. So
Hmm.
um yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, man. We had a nice little sports discussion. We rallied on what's going on with WWE. I know we haven't really talked AEW. I don't really watch it. I know you don't really tune into it either. I like see what's
Yeah.
going on.
Right.
Uh,
I see a little bit of the news and stuff, but haven't really been keeping. I haven't really watched it. But, the
I
only
know
thing is just with the whole CM Punk thing going on and that he lost the belt to John Moxley. So now he's the undisputed champion. So that's the only like big, I guess,
that's
one of the bigger things that's been going on and circulating is the better word, circulating around the AEW world is with the whole CM Punk thing going on. So
right. Well, they have their all out, like their big pay-per-view is this weekend. They always do Labor Day
yeah,
weekend. But I just don't really follow along with them to be able to speak
no,
on it, really.
right, same.
All right, man. What do you say we wrap this up?
Yeah, let's get out of here. Thank you guys for tuning in. This has been a little bit more of a sports talk. So if you guys like the sports talk, let us know in the comments. Leave us a comment below or send us an email, like we mentioned. If you did not get the email, look in the description below, either on YouTube or we usually have them in our other podcast platforms. Make sure to rate us and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you can get your podcast. We are usually on there. Just type in one set and make sure you guys follow us. So, anything you want to say before we get out of here, my friend?
I'm good, brother. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. It's been real. It's been. I know we talk about a lot of different things, episode to episode, but it's nice. We get to switch it up. We're not always talking about the same thing all the time, right?
Absolutely.
Cool.
All right,
All
guys.
right,
Have a
man.
good weekend. Have a good rest of your weekend. And if this is coming in this weekend, coming in. So everybody have a good Labor Day weekend.
That.
See you on the next one, guys.
All right. Love you, brother.
Love you too.
Thanks.